And welcome everybody to episode 99 of the Paws Up podcast. We are one away from reaching triple digits on the pod. I couldn't be more ecstatic, but we have a fun episode for you all right before being episode 99, where we bring in a familiar face, Jonathan Mayer, but he's not a co-host today as he has been. He is our guest. We can actually sit down and talk shop with the man, the myth, the legend. We go way back. It's Jonathan Mayer. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing great. I remember the days when I was a guest. I think I was a guest once, maybe on episode 2 or 3 it was.
Yes.
Which was about maybe, 2.5 years ago. So that's a long time coming.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here. Glad to just talk about, the memories of the podcast. So obviously, I was a big part of it from a certain stretch during the rise and good stuff. But yeah, glad to be here and talk shop.
So, yeah, episode. It's 2 or 3. My mind is failing me right now. Where Johnny made his first appearance on the show, and back then he was just a guest. Episode 2. That was it. And at first he was just treated like a guest. All right. He's a friend of both of ours. Obviously, I know Johnny from Panther Now way back when. Kevin knew Johnny from FIU Athletics coverage. We all knew him, and we were like, all right, that's cool. But then I think we knew him too well, so we wanted to make him a recurring guest, if you will. But that doesn't really make much sense when you have other guests on the show like Scott Carr and all those guys. So we made him a co-host, if you will. Episode 2 dropped on December 4th, 2022. Now, the last time Jonathan Mayer was on was like a regular co-host. Was his final one as a regular co-host was episode 73, which fancy enough.
I wonder why.
Jordan Browning, yep. But he did make a cameo in our previous episode with Billy Gill, which was great to see. It felt like he was back on the track, but now you are a guest, Johnny, and we actually have some cool questions to ask you. How have you been since the last time you were on that Browning episode? A lot has happened since then. That episode was kind of a minute ago, you know?
Yeah, it was October. It's been good so far. Obviously, the grind of FIU Athletics and the sports that I cover. So obviously, finished up swimming season back in March. Baseball just finished up after what was a long 2-3 month stretch of baseball games wrapped up in the conference tournament this past week when date of recording. But it's been good. It's been a grind for sure. Obviously, when it comes, it's crossover season, so we have a lot of sports going on at once. But it's been a really good year. A lot of cool moments. Obviously, we can touch about it from baseball with their big wins, whether it was against Miami, the Vice uniforms that they debuted, swimming and diving having a good year, narrowly almost winning another championship, which was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Even men's soccer too. Shout out men's soccer. They went to the championship for the second time in the past 3 years. Obviously losing in overtime, but still a good year in the postseason for them. So, but other than that, busy but glad to be here. And now it's the summer months, so it's nice and chill for everybody that works.
Kevin, I was wondering the moment when he would name drop swim and dive, and he didn't even last one question before he had to give him a shout out. I respect it. That's where it all began for Mr. Mayer. You've been an assistant with FIU Athletics for a while, but the SID role is a whole other task at hand. We've had previous SIDs on the show, including Darren. For those who don't know, just go over in detail what being an SID is and talk about where the desire to become an SID began for you.
Well, I guess the job is basically, from a college standpoint, they kind of is the do it all for the media. So we're the ones that obviously run the social medias, that you see what goes out on social media. We do everything from the website. So whether that's the recaps you guys read, the previews, the roster pages, all the bios, all that good stuff. And obviously whenever somebody wants, maybe when you guys want to have a player on, we're the ones that got to coordinate that behind the scenes. I guess for me, I remember I was into broadcasting. Remember I did a lot of broadcasting stuff. Obviously, I called the games with you, Jake, even you, Kevin, for a little bit.
Yeah.
Only after 2 years ago, that's what I was still doing. And obviously, that summer before my senior year, I got involved with some internships with the athletic department. And long story short, there were some people that left our department, so there were some shoes to fill, which was the fall of 2023. I decided, hey, let me try this. Looks kind of fun. And I did that. It was really, really enjoyable. A lot of work though, as a student. But yeah, I pushed through and I realized this is kind of fun. Like you get, you're able to basically you're getting paid to watch sports, especially for me, teams that I obviously went to, watch in college and now getting to work with them, especially. It's been a cool opportunity getting to share their stories and being able to, promote the teams at a high level. Any way we can, whether that's me taking photos or promoting them on social media, is a cool gig. And I'm really enjoying it so far, especially now finishing up my second year overall.
Do you miss the broadcasting on the radio?
Yeah, here and there, I like it. I know. Now Kevin's been more involved with ESPN Plus, which is definitely cool to see. But I'm the one. I like being able to help. Whether it can't be on the broadcast, so I have a voice on the broadcast. Like I love getting to see. When I give game notes to people and Billy Gill, they're using the topics I found or little nuggets that I was able to find in a player, and they're using that. So I guess I have some sort of, part of the broadcast, a little bit of what they talk about. But yeah, I do miss, calling a home run call or things like that. I know if I had to call some games this year for FIU baseball, that would have been really, really fun. There's been a lot of cool moments, a lot of walk-offs this year. But I still feel like I still have a great tie to it as well.
So, of all the sports that you've been an SID for, because there are a lot, you are the baseball guy. Let's hope that continues to be the case in 25 or 26. Just that's your favorite sport. We know that's your favorite sport. What was that like when you found out that you would be the baseball SID? I know you were talking about it. We were talking about it, before you got it officially. That maybe this is an opportunity. You ended up getting it, and I know you're really happy because, at the end of the day, I think we know that's our favorite sport, at least, Mayor. And to be able to be with that team for 2 years and 2 fun years, I would say. Like the results in the tournament. It's been 2 good years, especially with Rich Whitten, what he's been able to do, and really put this program on the uprise these last couple of years.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like obviously for me, like getting to broadcast the games and then being told, hey, you can work with the team. I'm like, that's an awesome opportunity, not on the broadcast side, but on the SID side. And for me, I'm super grateful for the opportunity. It definitely took some time to adjust to it, learning more of the behind the scenes stuff, whether, it was the stats, making sure we have all the information correct and accurate, getting everything ready. Definitely when I first started out, it was a lot for me. But obviously as the season went on last year, I got more comfortable. And obviously a great year for the team stepping stone. And then this year kind of found my footing with the team and learning what they like, especially, getting to help tell their story and getting to work with, a great coach like Coach Wood and his staff. Especially this year was really, really fun. Obviously most wins since 2017. So they, won a lot of fun games. We could talk about that opening night game where Keyshawn a 3-run home run to tie it up, and then we went on a walk-off. And getting to tell that story was cool. And there's been a lot of cool moments this year, but I'm very grateful that I got getting to work with FIU baseball, a team that definitely every night there's something interesting or something different that really makes you really want to, promote it at the highest level possible. So really, it's kind of a cool full circle moment for me getting to work with a team that, I really enjoyed covering and now get to be with them on a daily basis.
What was your favorite game? I think I know what you're going to say, and I think I know what we're all going to say, but what was your favorite game?
A favorite game from this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of good games, good moments.
I know. I have a good feeling.
Easily. I mean, that can be up for debate, but I would have to say the Sunday win over Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
Keyshawn for a walk-off homer. I mean, there's nothing like it, especially in college, and even in professional sports. A walk-off homer is everyone goes to home plate. They're crowding. They know what's coming.
Yeah,
it was like you knew from the get-go when Keyshawn was up to bat, he was going to hit a moonshot, because I think the pitch before he nearly hit one out of here. It was just foul. But the next pitch just rocketed out to left center for a home run, and that was a cool moment, especially sweeping at the time a ranked opponent in Western Kentucky who actually just went on to win the conference USA tournament. So congrats to them. But that was a fun moment. The best favorite game so far this year for FIU baseball.
And I remember that game because Brylan was seeing the ball really well, and he got a good piece of that one too.
So under it,
yeah. I mean, I thought that was gone. I thought Brylan was going to get the walk-off homer to dead center, which is even more impressive. But talk about your experience at Lone Depot Park. I know that you're a Marlins fan as well, so that must have been really cool for you to go up there and be the PR guy for at a Major League Baseball stadium.
That was cool, especially from behind the scenes. I found out about this maybe in September. And it was something that was kind of under wraps from like my perspective, and then knowing that like it came through, we got to host it, was a cool experience. And for me, it was definitely an undertaking, but obviously we have a great department who I work with that helped out with, getting things prepared. Obviously it's not an FIU baseball game. It's a game at a major league ballpark. So we had to make sure we had everything ready, accommodating everybody, having, radio, bring the news stations out. Obviously getting the Marlins comms team, which was awesome as well. But being there was a surreal, like as somebody who, grew up a Marlins fan, especially like a lot of my youth years was going to Lone Depot Park, and now getting to work there and like be in the press box, be the guy that's on the little mic in the press box, announcing who the pitching changes are. And just, even getting to walk down the field was cool. Like when you're at a Marlins game, usually, you get to walk on the field, but there's always a gate blocking off, or you don't have as much access. You can't go in the dugouts. Like for me, you got to do whatever you want. It's a free for all. It was really basically an FIU home game at Lone Depot Park, and we kind of had the reins to everything. So it was an awesome experience. I know you guys were there, and being in the press box, just chatting up. But that was a surreal moment for me. I'm super excited. Hopefully, we're able to host this more next year. But from as perspective for me, that was one of the coolest moments so far in my young career as an SID.
Well, you're not the only SID. There's Darren. There's Lucas. Mm-hmm. I know you've had other SIDs who were in there. What's it like working with them? They're super cool. So I know you've learned a lot from them, especially just their years in the business, especially Darren. Darren's been around for a long, long time.
Shout out Darren.
Shout out Darren and Lucas. But yeah, it's a great crew. I think we work well together. I think for us specifically, it's been now 2 years or second year, working with them. So the relationship is very, very great. We kind of work off each other, especially with the creative department and, working with them and just finding how to ways to story tell and make sure we're promoting FIU at the best level is awesome. But yeah, they're great people to work with. A lot of fun moments in our office as well, but a lot of cool stuff, but excited to keep going with it. And hopefully heading into year 3 with with bigger things on the way, especially with those two along the way as well.
So I did want to ask you this, Jonny. You've seen and done quite a bit, and obviously we have a lot of people interested in FIU athletics. You have athletes who also maybe want to pursue something outside of just sports, as we've seen here at FIU. If you have any advice you'd like to share to those who might be interested in either becoming an SID or just figuring out what that would entail, what advice would that be for them?
That's a good question. Good question.
Well, thank you, Jonny.
Yeah, you always have
coming, huh?
Yeah. No, I would say I think just starting to get involved. It's it can be maybe daunting, or maybe you want to do something you don't really know where to start. I think just finding how, just emailing out, reaching out to people, getting involved, I think is the easiest step, because once you're able to reach out and find the right people who you are interested in their department or what they're doing, that can help lead to things. And I know we've had a lot of people that are working with us now that all they did was a simple reach out, and now they're getting involved. And I think it's just, and especially what I've learned is just putting yourself out there, like especially from how I started out, working with Panther now, and then obviously doing other things with FIU Athletics. I just think it's just being able to, finding what you like and just start, grinding. It's really about how you put into it.
Yeah.
And you can go from there. I feel like a lot of it just comes down to just finding the right people. And once you find the right people and what you want to do, it can lead to, opportunities that maybe lead to a job or even just opportunities somewhere else. So I just say, just finding the right people and reaching out to people that are in the similar wavelengths of what you want to do.
That's a good point, Jonny. Now it's time to talk about a bit of baseball. The season is over. Yeah, I see you, Jonny.
Oh, that.
A 31-27 overall record, had one of your best seasons in a long time at home. Specifically, you win your first game of the CUSA tournament, but kind of fall flat in the next two. Overall, how would you assess how this season went for you, generally speaking, Jonny? And I'll also let Kevin answer this as well, because he is our baseball guy too.
Yeah. I mean, first, you have to look overall. If you look at where this team was in 2022, they won only 16 games. It's 2025. They've won 31 games. You basically doubled the win total. And you have to understand it it's a process. Coach Wooden has what he's taken it from what he had to what he has now. It's in a really, really good spot. You know, we talked about most wins since 2017, most conference wins since 2018, 13 wins, obviously most home wins since 2014. You know, you beat Miami a pair of times. You know, you if you look at the home slate, you won what? Every series except for 2. You split one against Buckdown and lost 2 out of 3 at Liberty to close out the year. Either way, that's a very good home slate. I just think that overall, year 3, you won 30 plus games is a very good sign for Coach Wooden. Obviously, you know, you want to do a little bit more in the conference tournament. Obviously, it was competitive. You know, a couple days there in Lynchburg last week, but
yeah,
I'm very happy. I think going into next year, you're going to lose a good amount of your senior class. Obviously, Kashawn Frett and Austin Deering, guys that were huge for the program. But you have a lot of young talent, and Coach Wooden and his staff have done an incredible job recruiting, finding guys in the portal. Like you think about this year, Easton Marks, who was a first-team all-conference player, Javi Crespo, who, in my opinion, he was snubbed from an all-conference list. He definitely deserves to be on one. Those 2 guys in particular. I mean, obviously, freshman-wise, Cole Cleveland made a huge impact in year 1. And Mark Hirsch, who I think will be a future, stud behind the dish. Like they've done a great job on their recruiting, and I know they have a lot more talent coming in next year. But even Kevin can agree. Year 3, you win 30+ games. That's a great. You're on the right trajectory. I think year 4 next year, you're going to see probably a bigger uptick in momentum heading in for the Wooden era.
Yeah.
How was? Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I mean, I agree with Mayor. You know, you look when Rich got here, it was not a good team. It was a good team, just unfortunately didn't go their way. It was an interesting situation and weren't his guys. And after that, I mean, you bring in guys like Brylan, Kish, Jeff McCory that year. That was a fun team. Unfortunately, starting pitching wasn't the best. Weren't able to hold up, but man, they have a fun bullpen with Lambton. You had Dookie, you had Riley in there, and that's. I mean, you wish you had that same bullpen this year because I think a lot of games would have looked a lot different. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case. It was the bullpen that really hurt FIU this past season. Didn't go their way, but a lot of good names to come out of it. Jaden Bishop was awesome. Tracy Cameron was a redshirt freshman. Really got off to a really good start. Fortunately, wasn't able to keep it up, but towards the end, finished off pretty well. Kevin Martin, shout out to him. He's a grinder. Been here for 6 years now there? Close, 6, 7?
So he was here for 4 years and played 2 somewhere else. We have 4 years at FIU.
4 years at FIU. I mean, 6 in total. So it's crazy. And he put up a huge performance against Western Kentucky in the second game of the tournament. Unfortunately, didn't go their way, as we know. But, I mean, Alex Ulloa, hopefully he returns. That'll be a huge, huge guy, especially with Brylan now in the portal. You know, that's your leadoff guy intentionally. You know, you start kind of putting up the lineup, what it would look like in 26. Technically, Alex Ulloa will be your leadoff hitter if everything works out. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this team has a lot of guys who could potentially go in the draft. And, you know, Matt and I've been talking about it. Like Easton, I think will get drafted. Owen, we'll see what happens. I know he's in the portal, but technically would end his career at FIU. Brylan, same thing. Kish, I think does get picked.
Yeah.
So there's options. We'll see if they get selected or not. And if they don't, I mean, UDFA is still a thing. So that's a possibility. So overall, I think Rich has done a great job. I think Brian Geralman's done a good job. Same with Carson. I think those 3 guys are, you know, good for this. They're doing a good job at FIU. And I think their experience in the collegiate ranks, Geralman with the MLB ranks certainly helps. And it's been huge, I think. And they're killing it on the recruiting end. I mean, Rich has brought in the type of players that he wants to have on this team. And I think we'll see what they do there in this offseason, but they really, really, really need to load up on the pitching. I can't stress that enough. They need to load up on the pitching more than ever. I know they brought in a 2-way player, so we'll see how that works out. They're going into the JUCO level, which we've seen it work before. I think it can work again. And just the returners that they have. If Javi Crespo is back, that's a huge returner at third base. Mayor noted it. Mark Hirsch, you know, that's a guy who they're really high on. I think he showed a lot during, you know, the intra squads, and they're in the Blue and Gold World Series. And we'll see if Renee Lastris does return. That's a huge, returner right there. A lot of power. I'll be interested to see what first base looks like. Kyle Kaler, maybe. I think he's still back for he still has another year, Mayor. So they're gonna play a lot. They're high on him. Has the power, a lot of good raw power. So, you know, you're losing power in this lineup, regardless of how you want to put it. But I think that they're going to be bringing in some power, and they currently have as well with within that roster. So I'll be interested to see what this team looks like in 2026. It'll be a make or break year for sure. You have to go deeper in the tournament. And unfortunately, 31 wins, it's great, but at the end of the day, what you do in the tournament is what matters. And you cannot lose in the tournament. You have to go deeper than you did this past year. And FIU had a shot. They really did. They played Western Kentucky extremely well. Just unfortunately, one bad pitch and everything turned sideways for them. And it's a really good Western Kentucky team. Mary noted it. They won the CUSA championship. They're in the regionals now. And they were losing 6-0 to New Mexico State in the first game. They came back and won it on a walk-off. FIU was winning 5-0. They came back and won it on a walk-off. So that team is really good. They're probably going to be the best team in the conference. Once again, I would say over DBU come 2026. It'll be them in DBU, and then it's the rest of the conference. And we'll see. I mean, we're getting Missouri State, really good baseball program. Delaware, another good baseball program. So not going to get easier. Conference USA may be the best mid-major conference.
They are.
I agree.
Already, like if you look at the rankings, we're the best mid-major baseball conference.
Exactly. I think this season featured some of Rich Witten's best wins as a coach. FIU was able to get some of the best wins during Witten's tenure. You won not one but two games against the University of Miami, and you were maybe one grand slam away from winning the series over the Hurricanes, which would have been absolutely monumental for Witten in this FIU program. But still, the fact that you were able to not just beat the 17th ranked Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, but to sweep them in your own barn is absolutely surreal. I think that's definitely the highest point of the season, being able to say that you swept a ranked opponent at home. I understand that overall the FAU series didn't go their way, but that first game on Friday was a very solid win over the Owls that I wish they were able to get some more wins off of them. However, I think I
forgot that was a good game too.
That was an excellent game.
That was a pitcher's duel,
I think that
you also look at those games, but you also have to look at the CUSA series. I mean, you swept Western Kentucky, which at the time was ranked. I think that, in no disrespect to the other teams that you were mentioning, I think that means a lot more, especially at the time that they were playing. That means a lot more than, what I'll say that as it is, a meaningless midweek game at the end of the season. As now early in the season, of course, like that meant a lot. Like you wish you would have won that Lone Depot game. That would have meant a lot for this program. Of course, beating Miami at home at FIU and on the road at Miami is huge. But yeah, I mean, you also have to think about it those two ways. That beating Western Kentucky in a huge that was huge because you were just coming off this getting swept by Kennesaw State. You win the midweek game against Miami, which for them meant a lot more than FIU in terms of just regionals and potentially hosting. And then FIU goes out there and takes the series against Western. That's by far the biggest win of the season, in my opinion, and series sweep of the season.
Yeah, I think Rich Witten has also proved that an offense at FIU can be consistently dangerous with him in charge, and they've lost a lot of power this past season going into now, and like you said, they went towards the JUCO level, and they pretty much got it back and then some. They had, I believe, 11 wins out of their 31 wins. 11 of them they dropped double-digit runs in a game, which I think is absolutely impressive. And on top of that, I think we had already alluded to it earlier, but a 23-9 record at home was very monumental, especially considering how fortunate FIU was to have this many home contests in the season. I think they made the most out of it. It's always good to defend the 305, as we like to say, and I think FIU overall did a good job at that. So, Jonny, by the way, how was Lynchburg for the CUSA tournament? How does it compare to the Love Shack in Ruston from a year prior?
Well, it's different, very different. I mean, one's Louisiana, one's Virginia, but I enjoyed it. The weather was gorgeous. I mean, right now, Miami, it's humid, it's hot, summertime now, about to get to there. It was in the 60s. It was nice and breezy. It was cool. Like
the first day looked terrible.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
Remember, I walk out. Mind you, I brought jackets, just in case. I walk out with no jacket the first game. I'm really chilly. It's very chilly out, and I'm like, I think I did the wrong decision. Like I've never felt. I'm like this is it's May 20th. It's cold already. But yeah, either way, it was a little chilly. It was 9 a.m. Very foggy out, but we won that game. But besides that, it was beautiful. The rest the rest. After that, the sun cleared. It was nice. But I like Lynchburg. Obviously, a great win on Wednesday. Obviously tough on Thursday when you lose on a walk-off. But I enjoyed it. Great hospitality by Liberty. They took care of everybody very, very well. Great to see all the other, people from the conference that helped out for this, very important, week-long tournament, and obviously other respective SIDs and their teams as well. It's great seeing. But it was a good week nonetheless, and I really enjoyed my time in Lynchburg.
And their ballpark looked amazing.
Well, I was gonna say, is that the best ballpark you've been at? Like collegiate?
College. I mean, if you put I was gonna say if you feel like it's a minor league ballpark, it has that feel. I would say it's the best college ballpark I've been to so far.
I'm not surprised.
By the way, shout out Conference USA getting not one but two teams into the regionals. That is very, very great for the college.
Very good.
Some in the Sun Belt for sure.
But now I'm just curious how much money Miami slid to the NCAA under the table to throw them a spot. Was it the Hattiesburg regional against Southern Miss?
They earned it. As much as you hate to admit it, Jake, they earned it.
They earned it by getting smoked against Cal.
Man, but they beat some really good teams. They had some good wins.
Yeah, their RPI. They played some good teams very well towards the end of the season. I know they lost a couple of series towards the back at the end, but no, they had a good stretch and they were able to put themselves in this position.
Who surprised you guys the most, both batting and pitching? I know Easton Marks is kind of an easy answer pitching-wise, but you take away Marks, who really shocked you the most on the mound, and then batting-wise, there's a lot of great names to go for.
We may have the same answer, Mayor.
I'm going to say pitching. For pitching, I'm going to say Jaden Bishop.
Exactly. Yeah.
He from last year, he was like, there was a point where this guy was like your setup guy or your closer. Like, he was dominant. I mean, just from the standpoint, the way he was confident on the mound. Like, he had some very good outings. And then I think offensively, I think Kashawn Frett, that was one of the, who was the leading power hitter in Conference USA. I think for me, I think from obviously Coach Witten talked about it all year long of the adjustments they've made for Kish and how he can improve. And he took it. I mean, he hit, 296, hit 20 bombs, led the team in triples and RBIs. Like, he did everything he needed to do to have a very good year and successful year. And I was very happy to see him play this year. I mean, had some big home runs. We talked about it, multiple 2-homer games. I mean, there was a point where he was unstoppable. Like, you knew that you can't pitch to him. But I was happy to see him play. And a little honorable mention, Brian West, who led the team in hits this year, first team all-conference player, had a very, very good year. Good watching him. Obviously, you look at the numbers, maybe not as much extra base hits, but he still put the ball in play. The same B West that we loved and saw last year did the same thing this year. Also had more home runs this year with 12, setting a new career high in that department. But great year for those two guys in particular.
Well, surprising. I mean, Javi Crespo, I didn't see that coming at all. I mean,
he's a sneaky. He kind of came in there, but he was a guy that, like, he can work every at bat. Great hitter. You knew we were getting from Javi.
Exactly, and I mean, hopefully he stays. But if he does, that's your starting third baseman right away. So we would have him, Ulloa, and then we'll Valentin at second, or actually no, Valentin at short, Ulloa at second. First base TBD. But, I mean, that looks pretty good regardless. That's 3 returners right there. I mean, this could be a decent team next season, Never know.
I don't want you guys to forget the Linsanity run that Albert Serrano had to begin this season. He looked like a player on a mission to start this season off. But he still had overall great statistics to close it out.
That catch he made, top 8% top 10.
Yes.
He was
on his prime Linsanity run towards the first few series of this season. So shout out to him. He played lights out, literally, to start off the year.
We don't have the clip.
We don't have the clip because we need Willie Sims to do something funny to have a new clip to throw into things like that. But expectation wise, me personally, before the season, I had 2 things I wanted to see FIU do this season. Win a game against Dallas Baptist, which they unfortunately did not, and win more than one game in the CUSA tournament, which unfortunately they did not. But I wanted to know what expectations you guys set for this FIU team before the season, and did they reach them? Did they not? Like, how close did they get?
I'd say for me, winning over 30 games, which was accomplished. I think maybe you obviously want a little more wins over the 30 mark, but they definitely accomplished that. I would say seeing Kashan make all conference was something I expectations. Didn't expect him to hit 20 home runs and be one of the leading, or guys with power in the nation. And then pitching wise, I would say I wanted to see somebody make the all conference team. That hasn't been done in a while for FIU on the mound. And Easton Marks had, it's on point. Look at the numbers. He had one of the best pitching seasons since Logan Allen was here. Which is amazing. So he's in good company with that. But I think those three in particular, maybe Kevin Hall a little different, but I would say 30 wins and then seeing a couple guys hit the ball well and then obviously have some great standout pitchers on the mound. As
much as I did destroy the midweek value, I do think beating Miami or at least splitting that series was up there. I mean, I'm glad they did it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, part of my expectations were to actually win the Lone Depot game. That didn't happen. Shout out Daniel Cuvée. He screwed FIU over twice. Both wins thanks to him. And Mayor said it. Winning 30 games, that's huge. I mean, you needed that. And honestly, just finishing over 500 for the first time. And Mayor, it's been a while. Didn't finish over 500 last year, I want to say. So definitely big this year. And I think Mayor noted it. Just having more representation on the all conference teams was huge. I think FIU was finally able to do that with two freshmen on there as well, and Andrew Ildefonso, who came out of really nowhere, wasn't really playing much, began more as a pitcher. Then they brought him in to start DHing more, and he was the number 3 hitter for FIU for the remainder of the season for a very long time. So I'm glad that him and Cole Cleveland were able to make it on the all freshman team. Could have even made the case for Bryce Turner to make it on there.
Shout out Bryce Turner. I forgot. Shout out Bryce Turner.
Yes.
He ended his season in 15 2/3 inning, only giving up 1 earned run. That's very impressive for a freshman. I got to shout out. He had an unbelievable stretch at the end of the year. Shout out Bryce Turner, by the way. He's going to be a stud in the bullpen for FIU. There we go.
Pitching, and more pitching is the direction that Coach Whitten and this team needs to go during the offseason. We already discussed that, but what comes second on the priority list aside from just pitching, as far as what this team needs to do to improve?
I just think staying on this path, you look at the numbers, you're jumping with, wins every year. Next year, you say, hey, let's win 36 games. Let's win 37 games. Hey, let's win a conference championship. That's the goal for FIU. I think staying on this path is consistency. Just taking one game at a time, as I like to say, one pitch at a time, stay in the moment, stay in the present. I think for FIU baseball, they have the right momentum. I think, hopefully in the summer and maybe guys get drafted, you have, it helps bring pedigree to the program. Obviously, a lot of rich history, but I would just say stick to the path. The path for Coach Whitten and what he's done with this program is right where you want it to be. You're winning games, you're winning more games, you're over 500. Just keep it rolling. And at some point, you'll get to a place where you'll have consistency every year and you'll win championships yearly. So I think next year is a big year to keep building on the expectations that Whitten has for the program.
Yeah, I mean, outside of pitching, first base, especially with Brylan, I think you need to find your first baseman, if that's internal or through the JUCO ranks. I believe they've brought in a couple of JUCO guys already who could potentially fill that spot. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, I got to reiterate it again. They need pitching. They need pitching big time. So I really think that's about it. Like, they've got the bats to get some work done. Now, do they have the pitching? Obviously, you can't replace the power of Kish. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm wrong, and you definitely can. I think a couple of those JUCO guys come with big-time power, so we'll see if that happens. But, yeah, outside of that, it's all pitching, especially the bullpen. Because, your starting pitching kind of helped you out a little bit this past season. Even though Owen Puck was a little up and down, we'll see what happens with him. He entered the portal. I expect him to go somewhere nice if he ends up not getting drafted. Same thing with Brylan. But, yeah. Pitching. I think I will continue to say that nonstop. Yeah.
Do we? By the way, we probably don't even know the answer to this. Do we know if there's going to be another Lone Depot game next season?
We'll see. I know from what I'm hearing, their goal is to have it yearly. Okay. I don't know exactly the specifics on when that's going to happen, but I do know that's the hope is to have it on a year basis. But we'll see. I'm hoping we do, because I think though it may be a Miami home game, because I know they wanted to flip it, FIU host.
Okay, circulate. All right.
But I mean, that was a cool experience. So definitely would love to see them host it again.
Alrighty, it's been a fun episode so far, but Kevin, I think it's time for a quick news break. What do you think?
Oh, you actually have one? Okay. Yeah,
I have, of course I do. Let's do it. This is my news break. A look at all things FIU athletics and just FIU in general. Let's start off with women's cross country and track and field, as a Panther has been named the field performer of the meet for the CUSA Outdoor Championships. That is none other than Michael Valentin. She earned a selection in the 2025 Outdoor Field Performer. That was announced back on Tuesday afternoon. She secured 2 medals at the Outdoor Championships, winning gold in the hammer throw and taking silver in the discus. She now has a total of 9 medals at the CUSA Championship meets at her FIU tenure. She helped the Panthers get a 4th place overall finish, the best since 2014. Finally, since we've been talking a bit about FIU baseball, there is some news to break, as they have a couple of Panthers entering the transfer portal that we know of now, being pitcher Owen Puck as well as infielder Brylan West. West earned an all-conference spot, so of course, best of luck to them in their future endeavors. And then finally, we do have some news on the video game front, as EA Sports College Football 26 has shown off its brand new cover, featuring a pair of wide receivers, of course, Ryan Williams for Alabama and Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State. While we don't know all the details of what the new video game will entail, there is general expectations that coaches will now be involved within the game. That's been leaked for a while now. Not to mention, of course, the 2 new teams in Delaware and Missouri State joining FBS. It is expected to release not that far from now, so definitely keep an eye out for more details and see what all is going to be about for this brand new game. So that is your look at Newsbreak. So let's get right back into the swing of things, gentlemen. I asked you guys before today's episode to come up with some ideas, some lists, or some picks, if you will. As let me reiterate something. This is episode 99. We are 1 away from 100. So what better time? Yes. Clap it up. What better time to get nostalgic than right now, before we're at the forefront of hitting the triple digits? Technically, guys, we've already dropped 100 episodes of the podcast, because don't forget about 20.5.
You got to talk about maybe the Paws Up, the previews, the post.
Yeah, okay. The previews, they're their own thing.
They're impromptu, but it does.
Well, so like, listen to me. Technically, Mayor's 100.
Yeah, technically, if you want to be like, if you want to get lyrical, spiritual,
we have 2.5s, correct? We have Ryan Guida.
We have 1.5, but it's kind of its own thing.
Guida was really 0.5.
I treat it like its own thing, in the same way that we treat the extra content of Reggie Peterson that was uploaded on the YouTube channel. We had like 20 more minutes that didn't make the original episode.
Yeah,
we have a lot of stuff.
The firing of Coach Mack, the hiring of Willie Simmons.
Yeah.
Reggie Peterson comments being addressed.
Yeah.
Talking about the discussions of Coach Mack.
Yeah. That's all their own segments. You have the Paws Up preview, Paws Up on Location, another great series we do, and Paws Up Live, which has all that stuff Kevin talked about. So I asked you guys to come up with your favorite, for 3 things, your favorite episode of the pod. And I have the YouTube pulled up so we can quickly check. Your favorite guest we've ever had on a show, as well as your favorite moment to come out of the show. And when I mean the show, that can include not just the podcast, but the previews as well, because there's a lot of great content that Kevin and I, and even guests from other networks that we've done, that we've worked on. So I'll let our guest start us off, because again, he's been in a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what you got for us, Jonny.
I can't wait for this.
What is, and I have him right here on speed dial. Yeah. What is your favorite episode of the podcast?
Okay, I gotta say, my favorite episode that I enjoyed was talking with head coach Randy Horner for the Swim and Dive team. That was my first, guest one that I've ever done. Yep.
Okay, that is episode 24. I knew it.
Was funny because I never worked with Swim and Dive, but I got to learn more about him. Big baseball guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that episode a lot.
Kevin was not on that episode, by the way.
It was that episode, Grayson and Arturo Dean, that I was not on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you weren't on the Christian Almanza episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in Orlando at that time. I couldn't go. Kevin, what is your favorite? I think you said you have a few. You couldn't just pick one.
I made a list. I made a
Oh,
list.
wait, we get two.
You could choose a couple.
Okay, I got to go Carlton Gillespie. That was a banger of a podcast we did with him.
It was.
That was
great,
a good one.
Great talk. I think it was like over 2 hours we talked just about FIU and stuff. So that was one. Carlton Gillespie, who does great stuff now with WLRN, covering Broward County. So shout out Carlton.
Shout out Carlton, baby. Alrighty. My favorite episode is actually a very recent one. This was a very funny episode. I enjoyed it a lot. It was 97 with Billy Gill.
Yes.
This was a very funny episode. Now, I find it hard to say which is my favorite all-time episode because I think we've recorded some that I've enjoyed being on, just doing with a guest. I want to say 81 was Willie Simmons. That was a fun one as well. That was the first time we had him on. Super cool dude. Excited to have him on. He'll definitely be on many more times. Hopefully.
Yes.
We're trying to see if we can do it weekly. We'll see. We'll try. We're a little coach's show. 67. I think that was Christian Almanza, if you want to confirm for me. I really enjoyed that one. That was a cool episode. Had a good time. Learned a lot about him. Easily the funniest guy at FIU Athletics. By far. 41 with Hunter Dubois. That was a fun episode. Learned a lot about him, his career path, going to, from UCF to Barry to FIU and doing what he's doing and what I know they're going to do over there at the creative side of things. And episode 29 with Michael Biamonte, that was a super cool one as well. And that may lead into best moment, but we'll see.
Yes.
But yes, I don't have a specific favorite all-time episode, but easily those are the ones I've enjoyed recording the most. And that's not anything against the ones we've already done. I think I've enjoyed all of them, but those are the ones that definitely stood out to me.
67 was Christian. Just to clarify, my favorite episode of all time was actually our most viewed for a long time, which Kevin brought it up. It's the Hunter episode for a few reasons. One, Hunter was an amazing guest, and he was fully 100% prepared for anything we threw his way on that episode. The guests who are the most prepared to answer anything about their lives, those are some of my favorite guests. So to all future guests watching, you better prepare. But I think another thing that made the Hunter episode great, and a few others have done it on every other episode, the ones that are close to FIU Athletics, he appreciated our content. He told us, we love the work you guys do to help provide views on FIU Athletics, just help us do our jobs. He said that to us, and it always feels good when we get a guest that tells us that. And Hunter was like one of the first to do something along those lines, and he had that camera that followed his, like tracked him. He moved around in the camera.
Mayor knows what that's called.
What's it called?
Like, it's something. I think it's like his camera on his Mac computer.
No. It's the one. It's the stick one. Oh man.
Like a gimbal.
No, I forgot. Whatever.
It's like the one you put on your shoulder, the rig.
It's a small one. It's a really small camera that you move.
Oh! It's like you hold it. It's like
Yeah.
It's like a
Osmo. The Osmo. Shout out to our audience.
Osmo.
Yes. Episode 41 will always be one of, if not my favorite, because everything just kind of worked out really good on it, and it was a really long one too. It was an hour 17 minutes, and it could have gone on for 3 more hours. That's how great it was. That's also why I love the Billy Gill episodes a lot too. They can go on for 5 hours. There's just so much to talk about with Billy Gill.
We need to start doing after 100 is starting doing more live episodes.
Yeah, so
because sometimes, and people don't know this, sometimes we go way over the hour. Like,
yes,
the Willie Simmons episode may have been an hour 30.
Yeah.
So it just shows you, the episode with our next guest, Corey, I guess when we're recording this, I went way over the hour. So did a couple other episodes. So we definitely have to do those live, like legit live.
All right. Favorite guest specifically. Favorite guest. Now, favorite guest and favorite episode does not need to be the same, because there's a guest that was so absolutely cracked that he made the episode better than what the episode was in itself. Now, I'll start this one off. We've had this guest on 3 times because every time we bring him on, he always has something new to talk about. He always strikes up conversations that ruin our planners, but in a good way. And we could have him on 10 straight episodes and there wouldn't be enough content to go over. It's Billy Gill as my favorite recurring guest of the podcast because of what he's able to do. But you know what? If we get Alejandro Solana on 2 more times, maybe then we can balance things out.
We need to do one with Billy and Solana.
Yeah.
The Civil War of FIU Athletics in one episode. I like it.
Solana, Billy, and Nick Garrido and Corey all in the same episode. Let's ensue some madness.
Ensue. That's crazy. I don't even know if the StreamYard servers could handle what
it does. Thankfully, it does.
Kevin, who's the best guest in your opinion?
Well, I told you, I made a list. So
okay. Yeah.
It kind of goes hand in hand with the episodes that I chose, but the one episode I didn't choose, but I really enjoyed was the Brian Geralman episode. I thought he was an awesome guest, very well spoken, came prepared, showed us a lot of love after the fact on the pod, and when we spoke to him in person, he really enjoyed it. Super cool guy. Michael Biamonte was an awesome guest. Willie was an awesome guest. So was Hunter. And Billy Gill. I mean, that was a super cool episode. He was a funny dude. Mayor noted him in the chat. I may be stealing Mayor's answer here, but Scott Carr, awesome always to get him on for a yearly check-in, see how things are going. We'll have to get Scott Carr on a little more often to talk about the state of FIU athletics when going into certain sports, especially with football this season and what we're expecting to see from them. But yeah, a lot of guests. Jake, I hope you still make this graphic of every single guest we've ever had.
It's going to be nuts.
A lot, but I think it's worth it because it shows the awesome people we've had on the podcast over the years.
Jonny, who's the best guest we've ever had? I'm interested, by the way, to see if you picked a guest that wasn't on one of your episodes.
I gotta go far back, and this is something I remember we did. And I remember we were super stoked that we got this person. It was Raja Bell, episode 20. That was a cool opportunity to talk with him, and I remember
that is a great pick.
Awesome stories about FIU and how he was able to come here and build his career, eventually going to the NBA, being a great player that he was, and help represent FIU. But yeah, that was a cool person to hear from stories about, especially from Raja Bell, who had a very, very good career in the NBA.
Was that episode 20?
Episode 20, yep. I just did a little fact check to make sure we have episode 20.
That may have been one of the most exciting ones, definitely pre-episode, because it's like, oh my God, we're talking to someone who played in the NBA. Like, as far as
Mayor's the one who hooked it up for us.
As far as
he had that plug, but he hooked it up for us.
As far as big time guests go,
it was the SID in me that had it. That was like
it was your calling. It was spearheaded by episode 20. Yeah.
That's a little teaser.
Now, favorite moment from an episode of the podcast.
I feel like we'll all have the same one, but
okay. We all definitely have the same one, but I did choose a couple from the Paws Up previews and post game shows. So
I have
I would like us all to say it on the count of 3. What our favorite moment is. Hopefully, Jake and I are on the same page. I already spoke about this with Jake. Mayor,
I think we're on the same page. Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Biamonte.
All right, there we go.
Hang on.
You have the clip?
I gotta show it. I gotta show it because saying it for this does not do it justice. We got to bask in this together. Well, hey everybody. Let's just get right into it. Mr. Biamonte, could you do the honor?
And now, stand up and make some noise for Jake, Kevin, and Jonny and the Paws Up Podcast.
Here's the thing. That's only half of it. The other half is us actually showing off the Vice trailer for the original Black Vice uniforms at the same time that FIU football did. That was also another amazing part of what made this episode so great, is that we got to show off the trailer at the same date, at the same time that football did. So that's always great.
Shout out Dan Forsella for that one.
Yeah, Dan made that happen. He really did. Kevin brought up the Paws Up preview, and I know what clips he wanted to highlight. The Paws Up post-game shows
Yeah, it's not the
provide
previews. I meant to say the post-game shows.
the
by the way.
post-game shows provide the best clips of the joy of victory and the agony of defeat.
Mayor
let's
doesn't
start
know the clips are good. The mayor has no clue what clips I chose.
I'm intrigued. I don't know if I'm even involved in it, but we'll see.
Let's talk about the joy of victory, which absolutely has to be after the overtime win over Sam Houston back in 2023 when the post-game show started like this.
I got an idea.
We're starting. FIU win, bro.
Hey, how's it going? It's the Panthers.
Oh, that was a great game.
You like that?
That was a fun day.
That was a great game.
Oh.
Bro. It was.
I was with Mayor. As you can see, I was in the side. The former
That's the only clip.
No,
I
I also have one for the agony of defeat.
all right. You weren't on this one. This was this past year when FIU lost the overtime game against Liberty.
You can look at our faces and immediately tell that it's not going to be
It
pretty.
was a rough night, man. FIU hadn't allowed us. I remember this. FIU hadn't allowed a sack. Going to overtime. It was like the second play, and yeah, didn't go well.
Buddy, it's Jake and Kevin from the Paws Up podcast. This is our post-game show.
Dude.
This is our
We're in the
post-game
same
show.
shirt, Kevin.
FIU loses in overtime to the Flames. Final score was, what was it, 31-24. And wow, what a game. We had high hopes coming.
Wait, why am I doing the surrender cobra here?
Toughness and grit, but they still made some massive mistakes that cost.
What else do I have? Oh, and then I had Biamonte introducing the show.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, good little look
It's
back
been-
at everything.
All right. We have enough time to do a couple of fun, quick little rapid fire questions here.
I like
Since we
rapid
have
fire.
the time.
Mayor used to
we're-
do these before.
Yeah. Jonny used to help us out with the rapid fire. Now he gets to do it quickly. Now, who's the funniest coworker at FIU Athletics?
The funniest coworker. I think we said it earlier. Christian Almanza. That's up there. Yeah. No. Easily.
Should we ask a rapid fire question for craziest take you've ever made? No, I'm joking. We'll leave those.
Not a lot
private.
of crazy takes. We'll keep that. I'll keep that buried, please.
Maybe one of them makes the trailer.
Yeah.
Easiest, actually, I think they're all pretty hard, but easiest and hardest sport to be an SID for.
Easiest sport. I'm not saying this because it's the sport itself. I'm just saying that it's a sport that there's not it makes it easy for me because I can I'm able to be like do a lot more. It's swimming and diving. Like I like the sport, but it's a sport that unfortunate enough, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff like statistics, they kind of handle that. The coaches graciously. I'm able to do more creative stuff and creative content for them, so it makes my job a little more hands-on with that aspect. And also the season, the way that the structure of the season is much more manageable for me. I wouldn't say it's hardest sport. It's just a sport that is very time consuming, which is baseball. You guys agree. It's baseball's an amazing sport. Great, like it's nothing better than knowing I have something to watch every weekend. But when it's like April, a lot of games going on, it can feel a little bit of a grind. But obviously the moments pay off when you have a big win against a UM or you sweep Western Kentucky. You reveal vice uniforms for baseball. All those moments pay it off. But sometimes it can be a sport that is a grind for the length of the sport itself. But it's a sport that is fun and it is always exciting to watch. And exciting for me whenever it comes time come around February, which is kind of crazy that it just flew by just like that season's already over. Now we got to wait for the season. So yeah.
Where's the go-to spot to grab some food on campus, Jonny?
Ooh, I feel like my answer's changed a lot since I've been a student, and now I kind of work here and things like that. I remember.
Well, I'm curious. Before you answer,
yeah,
have you ever been back to the dining hall since?
I have been.
Become
I'll be honest. I don't really. It doesn't hit the same. I think maybe because there's too many people. It's just too crowded. I know they're actually renovating the.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So that eventually see what they do with that. But I would say 2 years ago, I probably would have said the dining hall. This year, I would say it's been Panda Express. I've really enjoyed Panda Express only because where we're located at FIU, it's in the vicinity of Panda Express, so I don't want to walk to Graham Center or all those areas.
It's a pretty far walk.
Yeah, or there at Chocolate Smoothie and Panda, but I'm gonna go Panda Express. Like, some more chicken, teriyaki chicken, some rice, some veggies. They have it for me. And now I'm excited that we have Coke, a big Coke guy.
Yes.
Just a Diet Coke as well. So I'm recording, but I know tomorrow my first time having a Coke product at FIU. Super excited for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just realized that.
Put it out there for anybody that's wondering. But
well, all right. This isn't a rapid fire question. I don't know if you're allowed to answer this, but Gatorade or Powerade?
no comment.
Okay. Favorite FIU uniform?
Okay, uniform. Not being biased. I'm just saying these are the coolest uniforms ever. You got to go with the baseball uniforms. The Vice ones are top tier. I mean,
Okay. Favorite football ones?
That was
football ones. Okay, football ones. With that being said, I'm a big white Vice. I really like those a lot. I'm also gonna say, I'll be honest, I really love the Biscayne Blues too.
Yeah.
Biscayne Blues are lovely now.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it's hard to say. Like the Vice just stays undefeated with FIU uniforms. It's just like you always find a way to make them cool. I know coming in the works, we'll see maybe some other teams hints have Vice. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But just saying, Vice has been cool. So excited to see what Vice does in the future. But they're top tier.
Who's winning the Stanley Cup?
Florida in 6.
Okay. That's just it. Just give me Panthers and 5. Alrighty, Johnny. I know you've always wanted to do this. I know you've always wanted to do this, Johnny, but you never had the opportunity to. Mm-hmm. You're finally going to get your shot today. If you have anything you would like to say to the fans, to FIU, to anybody in general, the floor is now yours.
Oh, that's me. Okay. Wow, I never done this before, so it's new for me. I don't know. I was gonna say, I just want to say thank you. This is an awesome platform you guys have created, and I have to be a part of for, maybe for however long as a co-host. And I think just what you guys have been able to do and provide, share the stories of the coaches, student athletes, alumni. I mean, it's amazing what this has been into, and I know a lot of people love this podcast. I love what you guys do. So I'm going to shout out you guys. Have done a great job with this. And I'm just excited to see how this carries on. I know you guys are in the works for some bigger guests to get in store. But I'm just going to say you guys are doing a great job. Excited to be part of it. Excited to be part of what 99. I know not as important as what 100 would be, but excited to be the final not double-digit number, I guess. It's an honor to be. But excited to be here, and thank you guys for having me on once again.
This should have been episode 100.
All right, if you say so. But Johnny,
this is the true episode 100.
The true 100. But you guys have to wait for what we actually got for 100. It's going to be fire. But Johnny, you're a really good friend.
This is the thing. We'll see. We should definitely know that 100 will drop. It'll happen. We're still trying to work it out. So it may take a little longer than we want, but I think the wait will be worth it for sure. And I don't care how long we have to wait to get this 100 out.
Johnny, thank you so much, my friend, for not just being a co-host in the past, but a guest now. We appreciate it, my man.
Yep.
All right.
We love you, Johnny.
Episode 100 around the corner. But until then, stay strong, stay resilient, and Paws Up!